Destroy. No, contact.
Hold the line.
5, 2, 3, 9. Yep, direct take, keep firing.
And we are live.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We have a very, very special No Man's Land for you guys today. As you guys may have noticed, it's in the middle of the week and on a Tuesday. With that being said, regular scheduled broadcasting of Under the Helmet will be canceled for today. But moving on, we have everyone's favorite grandpa, Avidus.
Glory in his eternal name, brothers.
And gracefully blessed by the DK's leader, we have Razor.
Hello, hello, hello.
And special guest, as always, we have Kaczynski, local squirrel.
Greetings, greetings.
All right, let's just lay it out here on the floor. Let's just get basic introductions out of the way. So how's everyone been? I know it's been a good while, but let's get some thoughts around the room.
Yeah, been great. I've actually been enjoying little bits of War 69. Obviously, does get frustrating when the things that we've discussed here on the podcast many times. Still wrong with the game, obviously, but I'm able to be snatching little bits of fun here and there from the game. So, yeah.
Crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was nice to see a bit of space being, like, not space, but I guess population returning to the game and whatnot. Because, there was a bit of enthusiasm, which, I know, I think at some point died a bit out and then maybe came back. I don't know. It's very volatile considering we started with, we started like 1K players in the first day, and then like in a matter of hours it just like plummeted. I know this is gonna sound a bit mean, but we were joking around saying it was like basically everybody coming back and then just being like, oh right, this is why we don't play this anymore.
Yeah, I remember saying that to myself several times in the first hour of playing. Yeah, I know exactly where they're coming from.
I mean, for my part, I walked into this war quite demotivated because I felt that the reason why people were getting motivated was as silly as the reason could ever be, and so I was a freaking Scrooge about the whole nonsense.
Yeah,
heading into it.
I was the same, dude. So we're like, we're the
grumpy
boomers.
old man, dude.
We're boomers, dude. We're the definition of boomers because it's like, oh, is this why people coming back? 69 sexual position, lol. That's about as far as it goes. But yeah,
I mean, I was doing my
Yeah.
best Scrooge McDuck impersonation the whole time. I'm just like, oh, this is so stupid.
seriously, this is the reason people are coming back. I was like absolutely fucking blown away by it.
The meme
I did
was
my part.
pretty much-
I showed up for my Saturdays. I've not done any more than Saturdays, but I showed up for my Saturdays.
Yeah, it's so fucking funny that it's just the general meme that 69 is the glorious number to everyone and their mothers is like all previous wars mean nothing. War 69 is the only one that counts, and until then, the only one that can top it is War 420. So
Well,
we definitely have that.
We've still got the 82nd war to look forward to, dude. I think that's going to be
Thank
the
you
biggest
for the
one.
follow, you
Oh,
non-essential
shit, you're
Scott.
right.
You're being optimistic there. Yeah, you're being optimistic there. Let's hope we see it.
Again, I think by then we'll probably just be fighting to get tanks because there'll be so few people teching in game. We'll have like one guy teching because the population will be so far through the floor by War 82. If things keep going the way they're going.
Yeah, and we have a lot of concerns to talk about that there. Razor, what is the next slide we got?
Let's not drop into pessimism yet. So let's start with the current work, because this is sort of a small tradition, right? To catch up a bit with what's actually happening in the game before we start talking about it. For that
Thank
matter.
you for the follow, you non-essential
So,
Scott.
I'll make you a quick revision, I guess. For the most part, wardens have been defending
Thank
in
you
the
for the
north
follow, you non-essential scum.
and trying to attack on the south side. Just to summer it up, it's basically colonials trying to grab the north while the wardens are trying to grab the south. That's sort of the quick summary, right? Because we can go into depth later and discuss the individual aspects. So I think it's just better to just talk about it in general. Like, how do you guys feel about the war in general? Not necessarily.
One question.
Go ahead.
If I could, yeah. How do you? So just to narrow focus, we've done I guess East versus West. This is the second time that I know in recent history. How does that felt from your guys' perspective? Because I know the last time we did this, there was so much spice over the production facilities being so close to the starting front lines, and it was just a disaster. It was just an awful war.
If I may, because I can catch you guys up on the latest, let's say, drama on the topic here. So, the biggest complaint from the warden side is, one, the colonials have starting territory from which they can just hit our logistics with storm cannons and stuff without even having to gain any ground, right? The starting territory already gives them a avenue into the logistical side of the warden. And then there's that huge discussion about the starting area, because Hermits was neutral, although immediately it was closer to warden lines, but it was still neutral, while the colonials got a refinery. I want to say Crumbling Post, I'm not particularly sure, but anyway, they got a refinery secured on their map, while we had to fight for ours. And this is a double-edged sword, right? Every faction keeps to their side of the argument, right? Wardens see it well, we didn't have a guaranteed refinery in the backlines. Colonials see it, well, you guys had that town so close to you, they might as well have given it to you, right? Which, I guess they're fair points, both of them. The thing is, I think this discussion, especially about territories and refineries and stuff like this, the devs are not aiming for balance there. They already admitted that. So I think there's always going to be disputes on it. I don't think there's ever going to be a war where both factions are going to say, well, fair enough, it's equal standing. Let's see how it goes down, right? And I think the discussion can evolve from that, but I'm going to keep some stuff for later slides. Let's say like that.
So,
What do you have this?
My feeling on the East-West thing, I feel like it isn't balanced, but not necessarily. It might be balanced on one map for wardens, and then it might be out of balance on another map. It goes map by map. I don't think it's any one particular side. I think there's pros and cons to each side. I just don't think it's very good, East and West. I think what they need to do is refine the map. So maybe the map changes only very slightly. There's two versions of the map or something like that, where certain things are cut off when it's East versus West. Other things are opened up and things like that. Like, for instance, waterlogy is practically useless this time around. So if they had some kind of segment that they could drop in and drop out, like a connecting river or something like that, to open up the possibility of waterlogy and things like that, it might be
the map based on that.
Yeah, so the maps that are cut off, for instance, maybe you just open up a small section of that map that allows for the waterway to be accessed, or you have a section of the current map that when it's East versus West, they can just pick up and drop another segment in with water in it for that particular war. So what I think they need to do is, I think they should keep the thing where each war it changes around, where it can be East versus West, North versus South, that sort of thing, because it does, any variation in that is good in the long term, because it keeps things at least a little bit fresh, so everything isn't the same every time. But I think that they need to refine the East versus West thing. They need to look at the map and they need to think, right, well, when it is East versus West, these small tweaks will make it a lot the game flow a lot better and things like that.
Dark, anything to add on?
No, just I got nothing to disagree with that. It's perfect. He put it in the best, pretty much how I would say it. It's pretty much how he would say it. So I got nothing to say.
So I guess because like it's sort of on the same topic, like everything is about the current war in this stream. Well, almost everything. I think it's safe to move on the first topic here, the first main topics, so to say,
Yes.
the siege
Events
of
the Rodina.
yes. And I think there's a lot of interesting points to discuss here, especially as of late. I've been hearing of a lot of both sides use their own arguments in this. Now colonials are saying the town is too easy to defend. The wardens are saying you guys have so much stuff throwing at it, like how are you not taking it? The usual banter. The thing is, at least for me, what I sort of want to point out is on this map configuration, this is the easiest approach on Kirknall. This is the flat ground approach, sort of, on Kirknall. Because, like, if you guys remember or have a map or have been to Kirknall, it's surrounded by either river bridges or like just like castles and other stuff that's pretty hard to come from. So that this approach that the colonials have right now is arguably the best you could have to try and take the town, in my opinion. I know maybe colonials don't agree. I feel like they have a right to not agree, but that's how I see it. After playing this game for so long, I would rather take this approach that they have than have to cross a bridge, right?
Yeah, that's what I'll say. Like, look at it systematically. From any other way to approach it, you're going to be encountering bridges and artificial terrain. And it's, I mean, we would rather have flat ground or go through a fucking bridge. You can't use your storm cannons if you're going to be attacking the bridges, because all they have to do is destroy the bridge, and there you go. That's the whole push stop on that side.
So, So I'd like to just wind the clock back a little bit to not the siege of Kirknell, but the lead up to the siege of Kirknell. So let's remember the first week of the war and what exactly happened in Reach and Trail. We had a relic base, I can't remember the name of it, and we had that in the south of Reach and Trail for at least the first week or so of the war, first 10 days of the war, something like that. And that base held out all that time. And it was back and forth. The amount of resources that the wardens threw trying to dislodge the colonials from their start of war position, pretty much, was equal to what they've thrown at Kirknell. And I would argue that like they shouldn't have been able to defend that position as well as they were, because it's an open field. You know what I mean? We should have, like, by all rights, we should have rolled across it. I think it's not down to the town. I think it's more down to the way defense works in Foxhole at the moment is just overpowered, rather than a particular position or town or whatever. I think it's just the way that defense works, because with the colonials bunker-based system in that field, in Reach and Trail, we threw our op at it, and we cut deep into that trench system. But 12 hours later, it was back up again. You know what I mean? So it's what effect do you really have on something like that? You don't get frustrated with it, not anymore, at least, because it's like that's the way that the game is. You know what I mean? You do get frustrated with it, but you don't take it to, like, blame it on one position being overpowered. You know what I mean? It's just the way that defenses work, in my opinion. That's the way that things are overpowered.
Kaz?
I think Avidus has hit the nail on the head on a lot of this. A lot of the points. I like the connection to that bunker base as one example of it. It's even more oppressive in a town, though. Like, I mean, comparing the two is helpful, because I think you're right. We've talked at length kind of about the defender's advantage, but having fought in Kirknall, and I've only fought in a fraction of some of these other guys. I just did our op in it, and I just to restate what I saw from the LC perspective. I've got 40, 50 DK guys that we're trying to maneuver around in defense of this. I'm just kind of watching the bigger picture, which is really interesting to watch. The storm cannon shells falling all over the place, smashing all our buildings to bits, even taking out the safe houses. And we just pull the Amish thing and pull it back together. Like no big deal. Your storm shells, your storm cannon shells cost a lot more than our BMETs do, and there was just no sustainable method for them to make progress in the town, because the repair mechanic and the rebuild mechanic is way too oppressive, and it's kind of highlighted in a place like Curtin because there's enthusiasm around holding it as well, right? So it's a place that the minute it's threatened, enough defenders are going to show up to hold back pretty much anything outside of a very well disciplined FA push. That's pretty much all they've got that they can even possibly hope to really get a foothold with. And it's just because that FA is like the only tool that you can use to make meaningful progress in this game offensively right now. The storm cannon's just not enough. It's not sustained firepower, and you can't sustain enough firepower to keep things down long enough for you to make progress. It's nice, it's helpful, it's cool, it's pretty, it's flashy, but the defensive advantage is just too profound right now.
I find really ironic.
Go for
it. Well, technically, the Colonials are to blame for what's happening in Kirknell, because how many ops have we had that have fallen short because their detachment of Amish people have came into the town? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, they taught us better than any other teacher exactly what to do in this situation. You know what I mean? Like, we've been up against this in so many ops, you know what I mean, on the other end of it, that when the coin is flipped, you're like, oh, I forgot I'm an expert at this because I'm up against it all the time. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you know exactly what to do. So it's like, it's just...
I will say... It was refreshing to have an op where we actually did, like, I can count on one hand how many times we've done a defensive operation. And it's, man, it's easy, dude. I hate to say it. We didn't play, I don't want to take it, because we had some really great plays, some guys do some things. We didn't play well. I'm going to be clear. Like, as a team, we did not necessarily play well in defensive Kirknell, but we played, and that was good enough. And that was really, really profound for me to kind of look at and watch as things were unfolding, because Colonials made some good plays. They outmaneuvered our armor, and not just our armor, but Warden armor in that offense. As the offensive faction, they did a good job from a mechanized perspective. They had prepped well with Storm Cannon. Their infantry was together and working hard. They did everything right, and we were a little disorganized. I made some bad calls on the LC side, deployed people in places that may not have been as useful. Like, we did all kinds of stuff that was very scuffed, and they didn't even get close, man. Like, it wasn't even competitive. It was really bad, really, really bad. And it just highlighted to me how rough the state is right now.
I do think... Go ahead.
There you go.
No, I was just wanted I want to highlight how interesting your point is. I think it's a very good point, because I feel like I saw exactly what you were talking about. I saw people just knowing how to deal with this because they had to go against it so many times, and it just came like, second instinct to a lot of people. It's just like, even the counters to their plays were so easy and natural that there wasn't a huge need of effort, let's say it, right? Like, it's like, right, they put down howies, we know what to do, send in the kamikazes, boom, howitzers are down, like, automated. No, like, what, cold blood, like, no problem. This is like, we've been countered like this for a million times. We know exactly how to respond to this.
And even using our own howies, like, we don't typically use howies as much as we used to because we're usually offensive. But now that we're on the defensive, man, howies are easy when you're in defensive position, and they are awesome.
Sorry, I just have to put it out there. Like, I rarely feel sorry for Colonials, if ever. But I think I can put one occasion out there where I did feel sorry for a group of Colonials that were under so much howitzer fire, huddled behind these sandbags, and they were just praying. It didn't go well for them. I think they evaporated after a few rounds, but the sheer amount of howitzer fire that gets bracketed sometimes near Kirknell is absolutely insane. But on the same breath, something I would like to say about, there's a very unique situation going on in Kirknell, at least to what I've fought in before in the past, where, storm cannons have played a role, in battles, but very rarely as much as Kirk now. And it's quite refreshing to fight in a situation that you've never really fought in before. Like, even though it's annoying that your fob keeps going down every 2 seconds because of this massive cannon firing on the town, you know, it's something that you have to adapt to, and it's something that I've never had to adapt to before and change your tactics for. So it's quite refreshing to fight on a front where there's this ungodly weapon that might just drop a shell on you at any moment. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and you have to plan for that, you know.
Right. So I got a little something here. I know a lot of people are gonna, be interested in reading. I don't think I told you guys. I think somebody might have reported over the 40K session we were having, but I don't think most of you really understood what's happening. So this is from FOD. This is from Max. He says, being truthful, I really hope the Colonials take Kirknall, and then there's a fight from the Wardens to push across the river to the castle, to the town hall to retake it. That would be epic to watch. Now, I don't think I need to tell you guys how many people have been like yelling, like bloody murder over it. But the funny part is, to me personally, and we'll take turns to comment it, the fact that for Max, bridge fights are still something fun or whatever, epic or I don't know, mate. Like, I think most of the people here are like, when they hear of bridge fights, they're already like, oh no, no, please no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. What they find to be a spectacle, we find to be agony.
So I don't know if you guys want to have any thoughts on it. Like I said, my only thought is, aside from, I understand he wants to have a point of view, but this point of view is going to be...
Maybe it's reverse psychology, and he knows if he says something like that, it's going to piss a lot of people off enough to be like, nah, fuck you, I'm playing Foxhole, and the Colonials are never taking care.
Well, he definitely achieved that, because I'm pretty sure now, most of the Wardens have said, challenge accepted. We'll make sure you'll never get what you want. Sort of. Which, it may be a good marketing strategy. I don't know.
I mean, I have to quote Pickles. What Pickle just said there. It's not really worth commenting on, dude. Because at the end of the day, like, this type of shit is run of the mill now from like people like that. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing? This it's like, what more can you say than that? You know, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Dude?
I definitely take it as entertainment at this point. I think at least, people are entertained by it, judging by the reaction of people to this stuff. They're definitely at least.
It's not bait. It's not bait. The guy genuinely thinks that, dude. It's not bait.
I know. I know a lot of people think it might be, but no. The reason why Avitus is saying that, just to clarify, is Max actually joined us for a bit, and I remember we were in the safe house meta. If you guys were playing back then, it was basically when you would like grind 2 hours to destroy one safe house, because there was like no other way than getting inside and throwing AGs at it and stuff like that. And literally, like, we were fighting this fucking one house. Took us 2 hours, 60 people that were like almost like exhausted after a fight with one building. We could barely just keep our frustration in. And he was the only one like, whoa, that was fun. He was all excited about it. It was so, I guess it's a thing you needed to be there to understand it perfectly, but it was just such a weird sentiment to have somebody excited over something that all of us was like, oh, thank God that pain ended.
I think the analogy is like, they have an opinion like two different sides of the same coin. You know what I mean? We all like Foxhole, but we like it for totally and utterly different reasons. And I think their reasons are a little bit strange.
I think that and it's just kind of weird because they really want to push this whole stalemate idea. Like, I think that they really like this idea of fighting over the same territory and nothing moving. Like, I get the sense that seems to be like a target, and that's really frustrating for players to experience, especially the way that it's experienced. Right? It's not experienced because one team's one strong arm is matched up against the other and it's stalemated. It's that way because the defensive team is propped up and your progress is reset through really bad mechanics. Like, it doesn't feel good to go up against that safe house, throw 40 HEs into it, and then have two guys with a hammer undo all that work. That's what feels bad. It's not that they made a play and denied you access to the building. They didn't do area denial and keep your HEs from landing. They just, cheesed it. And so your much more difficult execution was completely undone through brain damage, like just brain dead activity. And that's what really feels awful, I think.
They badly need to add like the timer thing, I think, for buildings. Like if it's under sustained damage, or if it's taken damage in the last 10 seconds or something like that, it shouldn't, like anything like that. You know what I mean? It should be a timer, I think.
And I'd even go as far as say it should be a timer on reconstructing it. If the structure goes down, you need to let it incubate before it can be rebuilt. Like, it has to stay neutral for a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. Just to keep the ball rolling, because we'll still come back to a lot of it. Funny enough, I thought it would be a bit nice to discuss the actual meta of Storm Cannon, because we are in the Storm Cannon meta right now. So I think because I want to know how you guys feel, especially because I think Storm Cannon, or at least the first Storm Cannon, got unlocked even before tanks, I'm pretty sure. And like at that point, well, even I would argue even tanks are pretty shit at dealing with such a threat. Because like, what are you gonna do against the concrete bunker with AT, right? With a tank, there's not a lot of
need FA. That's it.
So if you could get a storm cannon before you could get tanks, that means you could get concrete bunker, AT, howitzers way before that. Yeah.
Yeah, the storm cannon is basically the last technology on the.
So the way things are working at the moment is the Colonials have a massive advantage in the early game. As soon as they unlock that mortar half track, they have a massive advantage in the early game. So what they do is they sweep and they take a lot of ground that the Wardens simply cannot keep, because in the early game there's nothing that can counter things like the mortar half track that will just decimate defenses and stuff like that. So they capture a lot of ground early game, and then they get an early game concrete to secure that ground. You know what I mean? So like now it's not just the storm cannons. I think the storm cannons are a big thing, but I think it's more the whole, because storm cannons themselves, yeah, they're powerful, but it's the whole structure around how much defense they've got around them and how much ability you have to penetrate that defense as soon as it's built, pretty much. So like they get concrete, and then you should have something available at least within the first, like within a couple of days, to at least start pushing and damaging and trying to take that ground back off them. But you have nothing like that until they're actually firing a storm cannon. You know what I mean? Tanks are pretty much like, you got mortars and you got other things to deal with them, but like massive tank pushes are like the first like real chance you have at dealing with big concrete structures. And even then, it's grindy, it's horrible. You're gonna lose a lot of resources doing it. Like, what the hell are they thinking putting concrete in such an early game? Like, I don't understand this line of, like, every single time we do one of these, there's something that blows my mind. Like, who sitting around that table thought that was a good idea?
Well, I can, again, I'm just guessing here, but I can give you my explanation about all of this. So first of all, the biggest problem here is the storm cannon was meant to be similar to rocket technology. That's the way I perceive it, at least. This late game weapon that is used to break down stalemates. And when they first introduced it, it was presented mostly as a defensive weapon, right? Like, you wouldn't just like pop one of these on the front line because it would never survive. That was the idea behind it. You'd like meticulously place it in the back line, blah blah blah, etc., etc. Now the problem with this is, in order for it to become more enticing. And when they removed it from the tech tree, they thought like, let's not control the way we take it. Let's let the prayers control, right? Their obsession with prayer agency and so on and so forth, right? And with that obsession, they just tweaked some numbers around and said, well, yeah, you can basically level up storm cannons depending on some factors that to this day they didn't release the exact factors. So people had to grindingly and painstakingly discover that things like depositing stuff in the bunker base increases the rate of taking. Scrapping fields and other activities like logi around the base increases the rate. Having active fights around it, having people spawning in, etc., increases the rates of it taking, right? So what happened is some colonials, really went ham on this. Mostly, I think a few wardens as well, but mostly colonials have really devised a way to speedrun it, right? So basically, it's like, day one, people start forming the front lines. No, the storm cannon people just rush to put down their bunker bases, which basically act like seeds that already start taking day one for the storm cannons that are going to be unlocked, in the future. So it has cultivated this try-hard meta around getting the structures up as soon as possible by using.
It's bad when 82DK calling you try-hard meta.
Yeah, but it's nobody's fault really, right? Like there's nobody here to blame because that's how it works. People are going to do whatever mechanic they see working, right? And if the mechanic is to lose your life sitting next to this thing and pulling and putting shit into it, that's what people are going to do. It's simple as that.
Yeah, to Dark's point, the issue is the strength of the bunkers, though. Like, the storm cannons are completely and totally dependent on how robust the bunker system is, and we've exhausted a lot of words about how strong that the foundation of that system is, right, and what it does.
It's just, I mean, even if there's nobody defending it at all, it still takes a considerable amount of time because we've won up against whole clan bunker bases that have like maybe 2 or 3 guys defending them or whatever because colonials are giving up or whatever, and it still takes a considerable amount of time to get through one of those things. Then you throw a full map's worth of people on top of one, and it's just
Forget it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it's next to impossible.
The tools that you need to destroy the defense are shorter than the tools of dealing with the delivery methods, right? Like, you have to deliver infantry within range to deal with that under withering fire. Like, what are you doing? When in normal conditions, you would be doing well just to contend with the enemy infantry post. It's much less to contend with the building.
There was no other scene that perfectly described early game Foxhole than our first op. Can you remember when we were throwing infantry at that machine line, and we like literally went through like 2.2k shirts or something like that, just throwing infantry at these machine guns, trying to get close to this bunker base, and it's the only thing you can do. We made progress. We managed to cut deep into the bunker base, but like it was like the amount of resources that we expended to gain such little ground is just like it's really telling.
And as sad as that is, the shirts and HEs that we gave up doing that were like 25% of the damage, and 75% of the damage was 6 mortar tubes that we stole from the collies.
Yeah, exactly.
How stupid.
It's insane.
Ironic.
I mean, would you say it's stronger for concrete or for tier 2 defenses, though?
Well, I mean, concrete is obviously stronger. Tier 2 defenses are more impactful, if that makes sense, just because of how prolific they are.
Like obviously tier 2, as you get into the late game, are not as much of a threat as they were. But early game tier 2, holy shit,
it's oppressive.
Yeah, you just can't do
it now. Like right now, we have in Kirk now, we have tier 2, and it's like give or take. Some of it's doing the damage, some of it's not doing the damage. But what would you give or take on that?
I think it's good. Like, see, bunkers, obviously, it's a very unique situation in Kirknell because you've got like a whole battery of storm cannons firing in it 24 hours a day. You know what I mean? So it's like, what you wouldn't make them tier 3, because if they were tier 3, it would be a waste. Because even if they dried and everything's set and everything like that, all the colonials would do is open fire on it with a storm cannon. It'd be gone within, a storm cannon is one of the few things that can really deal with like concrete bunker bases if they're in range. You know what I mean? So I think it's the right move to go to tier 2 in Kirknell with them, and not any higher really, because the defenses needed to be disposable there.
Solution is that the defenses need to be delayed. Like that's the bottom line here. It's like Fancy put it very succinctly. Tier 2 should not be available on day 1, and tier 3 should not be available on day 4. It shouldn't happen. Like the counter should be available approximately around the time those defenses are settling and getting in place.
And this is I think it's a perfect place to discuss quickly about this. Basically, still FOD. Basically, a guy pointing out most of what we've discussed here, that the meta is like really crazy, and Max is saying we agree it's lame. Don't worry, we're working on it. So
I'd say the last one. I'm assuming it's just we're working on it, right?
Yeah. If you don't want me to move the chat, no, but that's it. We're working on it. So it's like, why do we need to go through this though? Because like it was obvious this meta was bad a few wars ago, if you ask me. Like this is not something that just like popped up. Like this is just because of let's be honest, this is only because of the number of the war. Because like right now the wars were so small that exactly, and there was not enough spam for it to be this obvious that it is so abusive, right? But
the thing was, as soon as you build a storm cannon, you would already probably be out of range of what you were building it for, or you would use it for like the first, let's just say the first volley, and then you would take that location because the population was so low, it didn't really matter. But now, since things are a little more ramped up, and both sides are slamming concrete as if it was nothing. Now we have storm cannons on both sides, and both just firing on both sides. It's only when new areas start to being taken down and where it kind of like slows down a bit.
Yeah, but like I just feel like it was so obvious already, right? That it might just be me. I just feel like we've already discussed how the storm cannons are already stupidly unlocked early and so on and so forth. I just like don't like this balancing in a reaction capability. They're reacting. They're never actually thinking it through or like putting time into figuring it out. They're just reacting to what's happening, right? I think that I even saw a discussion about this, but I don't remember exactly where, about this sort of developing, where you just like put something in the game, it's just like trumps everything else. Sorry?
Maybe this is what you had in mind, but there was this conversation. It was on Press Corps that there was a discussion with Mark, and somebody had asked him, like, what do you think? What is the role of this vehicle? And
I have that as well.
Yeah, he couldn't answer it.
Yeah,
he had no answer for what so there's no premeditated design for what the purpose of this thing is. And I think that's I guess kind of in line with what you're talking about here.
Yeah, I think Milky offered a good one here. They need to be proactive, not reactive, right? They're just reactive to everything, right? Storm cannons are the current meta. Okay, they're gonna change something. They're gonna make probably just nerf the storm cannons to the ground. They're gonna make something else the meta and being broken, And then a few hours passes. That thing has become meta. Oh no, this is like broken. Let's change it. They nerf that thing, something else becomes broken, or they introduce a new vehicle, or they introduce a new building that's broken, right? Right. Let's keep the ball going here. So somebody posted this on FOD, and I found it a bit interesting. I wanted to show it off. This is Deadlands before the Warden attack. This is how Deadlands looked, and basically what you see here on the screen, all of it is mostly gone, or all of it gone.
So this is an old image, to clarify. We're not showing
Yeah.
data from today.
How'd you get this Intel Razor?
Yeah. so don't ban us like Hans. Okay.
No, this is before the assault started on Deadlands, right? And I think it's interesting because most of this stuff is like proper concrete, right? I don't think I have. I'm pretty sad. I think there was other like screenshots that actually showed the bunkers and whatever. But yeah, I thought I don't know. It feels like Jesus Christ. People put so much time in working into putting all of this down, and it went down in like 12 hours. It's just interesting to a degree to me. Like
Now, so this is the opposite side of the spectrum. What brought this down?
Let's not be too specifics because the war is still going. But storm cannon fire. Tanks and the infantry, I guess, but I would argue like the one thing we can say without giving out anything is anything and everything that is bunker, probably 90 to 80% of it was taken down by storm cannons, right? Like you don't have what you need to not use storm cannons. Is the point. So yeah, that's pretty indicative if you ask me, right? The only way to deal with anything that is bunker with concrete on it, even now, is storm cannons. Like that's your only answer, unless the faction doesn't respond and you just PvE it for like 4 hours straight, or some fucking shit like that. I don't know. That's the only way. Prototype some satchels and nobody comes to respond to you.
Or FA.
Yeah, but FA is like not even close right now, and it's been a while. Right? Like maybe you can get a prototype, somebody stickies it while rushing through 20 guys, boom, prototype gone. Good luck next time, kid. It's just like how it is.
Next time.
Yeah, so let's move on to Mr. Avitus's point of the day here. A special request.
So I was watching press corps. I believe it was last week, and one of our members came on, Cassandros, and he asked Mark, and I forget exactly how the conversation went, about bayonets and grenade launchers, and I just want to touch on like the importance of not fucking with infantry gameplay like they have, and like the effects that that's having on the overall game. Like something as simple as bayonets and grenade launchers, you wouldn't think would have a major impact on the game, but they are throughout the war having a major impact. And the fact that they've put them into the same, like you can either have one or the other, it's like a huge thing for infantry, because infantry, yeah, we have different guns and we have, AT capability and things like that, but there's nothing that really has forwarded the infantry gameplay in years and years. So if you take away like something as simple as a bayonet or a grenade launcher, that's huge to infantry gameplay. It like if you take away the bayonet, you guys are going to be at a massive disadvantage in urban fights, in trench fighting and things like that. If you take away the grenade launcher, especially a Wardens, the grenade launcher is huge for the Wardens because the Colonials have so many open top vehicles that we need something to counter that. So if we don't take grenade launchers, we suffer. But if we don't take bayonets, then our pride suffers. You know what I mean? So it depends how the war's going to go on one or the other, in my opinion, or at least how the infantry game's going to go. And I think putting them in the same thing, bad idea. There needs to be a major change to what is actually not a thing that needs to be teched. For instance, medical supplies at the start of the war. Nothing to do with medical shit should ever be locked out in a tech, in my opinion. Ambulances should be available day one. Field hospitals, day one. Bandages, trauma, plasma, everything available day one for medical stuff. And I want to say like some form of AT, like ranged AT, should be available day one. Maybe a different type of AT, a lighter version of it that doesn't do that much damage. That's only for like maybe it's like a one shot, AT rifle, that takes up a lot more ammunition or something like that. But there does need to be things that are brought out for infantry that aren't just new guns as well. There needs to be, depth to infantry gameplay that we haven't seen before in Foxhole. There needs to be the ability to, stick one of your guys in, like one of them suits from World War One, the fucking armored suits, and he can walk really slow, and maybe he can only use a pistol or something like that, but add depth to it. You know what I mean? Push the ball out there, experiment with infantry gameplay a lot more, because I think that's where we're really missing out in Foxhole. Is infantry gameplay, because they're releasing all these vehicles. They want in renewed things in the game and stuff like that, so they release a vehicle. Like, why don't they focus on infantry equipment for different tasks and things like that? Have certain points of the map, very specific places where maybe you need a special type of equipment to get into these places or something like that. So I'm just shooting out ideas off the top of my head. But if you sat down and thought about it, there's so much shit that you could do with infantry that would breathe new life into that side of the game and offer so many different tactical opportunities that it's mind blowing to me that it hasn't been done already or even looked into. You know what I mean?
Well, there's not really much attention being played to the very simple idea of what I call the gameplay loop. Like, what is the gameplay loop for infantry right now? And if it involves, anytime it involves suiciding into defenses, that's not a good gameplay loop. And that's what you need to make progress. I mean, when I play infantry and when I enjoy having fun with infantry, it's when I'm fighting in a squad-based combat of 10 to 15 other infantry on my side against 10 to 15 other infantry on their side, and we're maneuvering through interesting environments, trying to flank each other and get position. That's what makes infantry fun, and a lot of the gameplay innovations don't offer that anymore. My dog's very upset about this. You hear him? He's giving me all kinds of support of this, and he's not happy about where we're at. But I find it very difficult to find those engagements nowadays.
Yeah, a very interesting point there, like that I'm hoping to get an answer at some point, although I'm not expecting it. You mentioned medical and stuff like that, and there is one of the press corps streams in which KFC was, where Joffrey was telling KFC how he doesn't understand why can't we have medical equipment the first day. And KFC just said, "Oh, I fully agree." And from that moment, I was like, I need to find out, if you fully agree, then why are you guys not doing it? Because
we know why it is.
We know, but still, like, you can't say I fully agree, but then be like, well, I fully agree, but I'm not telling them that will make the game faster, and we don't want it to be faster. We want it to be slower, and the progression needs to be slower.
They want to flush out the tech system, and the more things that they have in there, the better it looks. So, they think, oh, you've got all these levels and you've got all this progress to get through. It's like, it just doesn't work with certain stuff.
And I'm saying, but the problem is that then don't say you agree. Just don't say anything. You know that wise word where it's better to just not say anything, rather than. It's just like, why would you say you agree if you're not going to do it? It makes no sense to me. That being one point. The other point would be, as much as I agree with everybody else that bayonets and grenade launchers shouldn't be a competition between each other, I'm just gonna, say the obvious, that grenade launchers have just too much utility to miss. I know we still miss them, and I understand people for missing them.
Yeah, well, there's
but
something I would say. I'm Scarus. You know what I mean? So I should advocate for bayonets. But if you want to be serious about it, grenade launchers trump bayonets. If you want to win a war, basically, and you want to min-max the fuck, you really want the grenade launchers, because the grenade launchers just blow bayonets out the water in terms of utility. You know what I mean? The only thing about bayonets is they're a pure meme kill. You know what I mean? When you kill Grom with a bayonet, you know what I mean? It's just, it makes your day. And, for some people, that's just how it is.
Mr. Dark?
I have nothing to say. I haven't really been my attention hasn't really haven't been here, so I apologize about that.
It's okay. I just wanted to check if you have anything on the infantry gameplay. But yeah, that's, for me personally, like, I'm gonna be honest, I think lately I've been, consciously avoiding infantry combat as much as fucking possible, because I find it tedious. And I think it's tedious because of these same points, right? Like, I used to, especially early war, I used to love those fights where, you have limited tech, but now it's so limited, and, now you need to have AGs on you as well, because you can...
You know why I really don't like it, dude? And why I fucking loathe it? Because in our first op, right, as when you're leading a squad, you kind of feel responsible for the squad having as much fun as they can in the role that they're given, yeah? So when you ask someone to run, like, for 90 minutes solid, this is what we were doing. We were spawning at the fob, we were pulling a gas mask, a filter, and 3 HE grenades, and we were running at a bunker base for 90 minutes. You know what I mean? Like I can't tell you how many times we did that. You know what I mean? And we were, sometimes we'd make it, sometimes we'd get a couple on, sometimes we'd kill something. You know what I mean? And, there was those little bits of like, yay, we killed it sort of thing. But, after like the 8th thing that you managed to get through, it's sort of, even that becomes tedious. and you just like,
yeah,
it's like, you have to try and remain positive for the guys that are under your command. And thankfully, the people that were under my command seem to, still be enjoying themselves to a limited degree.
Yeah, because, like, to your point, I think this is it. This is like,
I will feel guilty.
We'll get to that, because it was very ironic, and I'll play the clip. But there's a clip of Mark saying, how clans are, all of a sudden clanman good, because clans are a big reason why Foxhole is successful, and so on and so forth. And I was like cringing so hard when he said it, because it's not only that, this is why people keep coming back, right? Because it's not about Foxhole. It has nothing to do with Foxhole or the content in Foxhole. It has nothing to do with that bunker or that AG grenade. It has everything to do with doing it with 6, 7, 10 other people that you enjoy playing the game, and having that team victory, right? That team spirit of taking the monstrous thing down, right? Similar to like completing a raid. Right? It's just like, yeah, fuck it. And it's actually better than completing a raid, because most of the time when you do raids in dungeons and shit, you mostly do it with, random people if you don't do it with the same friends over and over again. But this is like, you might be doing with people you don't know, but it's the same people. They wear your tags. It becomes way more than that, right?
It's like, it's that, it all ties into, I'm going to get super deep here, but like, it all ties into your, like, we have a deep need to be tribalistic as human beings, you know what I mean? So when we can do it in a controlled and fun environment, that gives you like, for instance, supporting a football team or something like that, or supporting your faction on Foxhole and winning a war gives you that chemical boost in your brain that you're having a good time. And that's what you're chasing, you know what I mean? You're chasing that, like, yeah, fuck you, Colonials, we won this time, you know what I mean? That's what you're chasing.
I honestly can say at this point, like, especially on a clan level, I think Foxhole, for the sake of Foxhole, has left the building a long time ago. This is like Foxhole against Colonials and Foxhole against Wardens, right? Like, it's about the competition. I've heard it so many times. Like everybody's holding in for dear life because they just want to win against the other team.
Yeah,
it's not about.
Yeah, it's such an achievement that we're just managing to run the game purely based on hate.
Well, I wouldn't. I think hate is a strong word for this one.
Oh,
I think it's just competition, right? Just
well, you can use what you want, but
it's like it's blue tribe better than green tribe. That's the thing. That it's just that thing, and green tribe must be better than blue tribe.
Sounds like heresy to me, but
no, it's just that's the arc of the game right now. Just like it doesn't matter what the game brings you. The only thing that matters is victory over the Colonials. That's how it feels. And Colonials can say whatever they want. They handle this the same way. It's clear because I see them, staying up for hours in shifts to defend the storm cannon, and the tryharding is all over the place for both teams, not for one team or the other team. And PvE, and I can go on for a long time, but I would rather not.
No, but it's this a love-hate relationship that we've built over the years with these people. You know what I mean? We have people that are our rivals. You know what I mean? When you see them and they kill you, and you're like, for fuck's sake, that guy's got another one up on me. You know what I mean? Like what's his name? The cockroaches, rats, and then there's this guy that survived the nuclear apocalypse. What's his name? Rusted Gaming. That's the one.
Your favorite.
Yeah, that guy. Everybody likes killing Rusted Gaming because he's just. How do you describe him?
You already did a cockroach.
Oh yeah, somewhere between a cockroach and a rat, motherfucker.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but I mean, you've got that thing where whenever you see someone like that, you're like, I'm up against a challenge because I've seen this guy before. You know what I mean? So it's like you build up that thing over the years of recognizing people on the other faction and knowing the level of skill that you're going to be going up against in those situations. And I think that's a really good thing to have in the community, where you have these people that stand out, that have been playing the game for a very long time, that when you see them in game, you're like, maybe I should think about, not just casually, trying to bayonet this guy. Maybe I should be trying to go about this situation a little bit more differently.
It's not good for game is that those are the only people playing it. There's nobody else that's staying.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, yeah.
Well, it's only the people that are masochistic enough to build bunker bases and staff them 24/7, because any other well-adjusted person moves on.
Yeah.
Well, it's I can make this prediction though. If the war after this one is not the update war, then we're gonna probably have a ghost town war, because nobody's playing just a normal war after the war 69. Like war 70, if it doesn't have the update in it, is gonna be a cemetery war. I'm calling it right now. Especially with a lot of people, well, at least claiming, because I know a lot of people like to claim, oh no, this is my last war, I'm never gonna touch it again, and then you see them like the next war, why are you doing? You said you're gonna quit. Oh, well, a friend of mine was like, okay, mate, I know you're hooked. It's fine. We are,
I think the thing that'll Foxhole, I think, is going to really suffer with numbers over the coming year. And I think after about a year, we're going to see the pretty much the end of the game's life. I think that something that might kill it earlier, though, because you're seeing a lot of games coming out now, and if something comes along that's even vaguely similar to Foxhole, then I think it'll probably just kill the game.
Well, I know like probably half of the population of the game has their luggage packed next to the door, and they're just like, God, please, like. I don't want to go back into this. I already explained why I feel like that's pretty improbable, because it's just not a moneymaker. The model is not a moneymaker. But who knows? Maybe somebody finds something viable.
I don't blame them too, because, well, this is the weird thing, and you might see the similarities from what I'm bringing up. They're trying to treat Foxhole as if it was like taking the payment model like WoW. You get me? Like they throw these big updates in, and they expect like, oh yeah, this is when we're gonna bring the people in. But it's like, WoW can do that because people can resubscribe and essentially rebind the game, for X amount of months they want to play it. So they could do updates like that and still, have sustainable money. But currently Foxhole is you spend, let's just say the 20 or $30 you paid for it. That's it. You know what I mean? And then you're in for the ride. So it's just like I just don't understand what type of payment model they're trying to do for life sustainability, because we all know as adults that nothing good lasts, and why would they be doing something like that for not the one reason, and which is just money, and it's just it makes me feel like this is not going to be lasting any longer than it should be, because it's not profitable. They already got what they essentially wanted from us. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I'm just like waiting for something to come up on GoFundMe where it's like a 40k version of Foxhole, so I can just like throw my life's earnings at it. It's like, take my money, all of it. I'll sell my house as well.
Okay, the title has been on the screen for a bit, so I feel like people are kind of like, what does it mean? So I'll start explaining. So the reason I went with Vision Locked 1.0 is because of statement Mark Foot made on Press Corp on Zero Dark. Again, trying to give a bit of credit to Zero Dark and Joffrey, and you guys should always check it out because it's been good, because at least you can hear questions and you can hear answers better than how they do it on their Q&A. Their Q&A being just like a popularity contest format. Whoever has the nicest question gets to ask. So if anybody wants to know his favorite color, that's always going to be prioritized.
I always remember that time where there was scanning because there was just a full, like, must have been like 7 pages of people just asking about Logi and shit like that. And you could see him scrolling down. He was like, someone wants to know where I got my hat from. Like that. It's like, what are you doing?
So this is why Press Corp is way better in my opinion, because you can actually, like, they can't escape the question, right? The people go in there and they can ask whatever they want to ask, and they have to answer it. Although they rarely answer the question, if you ask me. But hey, it is what it is. So we'll watch the clip and just discuss it afterwards, because it makes way more sense like that.
Yeah, sure.
So I just really want to stress that point very hardly, that if you fundamentally dislike the game now, 1.0 is not going to change your mind. If you like the game now, 1.0 hopefully will have something exciting there, right? So that's, yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So I'll let you guys
That's scary. That's very scary.
Process it.
Scared to the point I think it's a joke. Like, he just wants to say that out there just so that way you get people, like kind of like just stir the pot. You get me? Just because I don't want to believe that. You get me? Because that to me is something like, that's something very frightening. It's kind of borderline like, get off the ship now. Like, I'm giving you a heads up now. We're gonna crash. This is my heads up for you. Not saying that it's gonna crash, but
I just feel incredibly let down by the whole situation. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I always remember a good few months ago now when they first announced, that different factions were getting vehicles, different vehicles and all that type of shit. And I remember them specifically saying like, we're in, beta or whatever it is, and we wanted to test out new ideas. And I was like, yeah, fair enough, going along with the idea and stuff like that. But as time goes on and, and you think to yourself, well, this clearly isn't working and they're not even thinking about changing it. Like, you start to grasp the idea that, this was never the intention. The intention was to stick to a plan and to not deviate even if it didn't work. You know what I mean? And this is the end result that they wanted the game to look like. Like, they wanted the game to just be overflowing with these different types of vehicles that would take people's attention away from the other problems. And I just think that it could have been handled better.
Kaz, what's your input here? Like, because I don't know, is it worth killing everybody like that?
No. simply stated, no. No, I just, and I'm trying not to be ugly here, but we've spoken before candidly, so I think it's fair to speak again. This kind of community management strategy that we see led by the community manager is wholly ineffective. And if this is the, because I don't believe that this is really the way that the development team feels about this. Okay, speaking realistically, I don't believe that that's necessarily true. And he just continually puts this stuff out here and does not represent them well.
Yes.
Period in a statement. Nor does he care for the community. Good.
Guys, this was from Mark.
Yeah.
KFC.
Yeah,
Was it?
well, yeah, it was.
Oh, that's
It
even
was.
worse, okay.
Yeah, it's even well, but to your point, I think you made an important point there, because I think if you would go to the guy who's like doing the code and the artists like Julian and whatever, I don't think they feel like that. I really don't. I don't feel they feel like, because I think even if you ask Mark about it, he would say you're interpreting it wrong. Like he wasn't trying to say if you don't like the game now, don't play it anymore. That's always the thing, right? I'm gonna actually show you on the next little clip I have. There was a discussion about what KFC said in FOD with Mark, and Mark was saying the exact thing. Well, you guys interpreted it wrong. KFC didn't say stop playing the game. He was just saying, and then offer the alternative interpretation. So that's the theme with them, right? They always have this thing where they say something, absolutely everybody aside from them and the people that just like look to defend them see it one way, and then they're like, well, you guys are just being mean, right? Because like we didn't mean it like that. And it's like my main question is why is there nobody there that questions this thing, right? How is it that such a big part of the community always misunderstands them the wrong way and the same way most of the time? Is nobody asking this question inside of the team? Is my issue?
Yeah, I mean, and again, to answer that, try to be an answer to that. I'm not entirely certain, because I come back to the heart of the issue. Like, yes, there are certain things that if we don't like the game today, there are reasons why one man might dislike the game and another man might dislike the game, and some of those reasons are not going to be fixed by 1.0, and some of those reasons could be, like, because there are some changes that I pray could come about that will make this game more palatable and unfix or will unbreak some of the things that they broke. Maybe I'm under a happy delusion here. Maybe he is speaking to me and saying, no, you're never going to like this game again. I don't know that, but there are other things that other people find crippling that could get fixed by 1.0. So it just doesn't make sense to me.
I do think that he's speaking to the broader community of people that have major reservations with Foxhole at the moment, and there is a sizable portion of the community that has that. I don't think you can interpret what he said any other way than what I think he meant by that. You know what I mean? Like as I was saying, like they said that about the vehicles, that it was a thing that they were testing out. They had no intention of ever testing out. That was a thing that was locked in from the start. And I think he's just coming out. He's sick of beating around the bush when he's saying that this is what to expect from 1.0. There's going to be no major changes to the game before 1.0 or after.
Well, remember these guys are professional ice skaters, dude. Even though everyone in their, let me rephrase it, because Razor said everyone but them sees it one way, and it's like you get me, like out of a crowd of 100 people, only 5 people are like, that's not what I meant. You get me? But the whole 95 people are like, well, it completely meant, like you said, this. But it's like, look at the ratio, and yet just ice skating around being like, yeah, so you guys are the ones that are not hearing. When we said you guys might not like. So if you don't like bridge battles now, you're not going to like it in 1.0. But that's sort of like, that's how the crazy level list goes, where
Yeah, that's a good example.
they could just focus it on that. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying, and yeah, they could put it out there publicly, but like whatever anybody's opinion on this is, my opinion is that is exactly what he meant. like in his tone of voice and just like his whole. And I know you can't see him, but it's like you can just tell by the way that he says it that is like that's the bottom line. You know what I mean? He's trying to put an end to sort of this conception that things are going to be changed and everybody's going to have a great time, you know, with sunshine and rainbows at 1.0. You know what I mean? He's trying to say that like this is the game now. If you don't like it, then you know I don't know what to say to you. We've got your minute. We've got your money. Goodbye.
For the sake of example, I'm going to put this on screen here. This is what they were discussing afterwards. The statement from Max you can see on screen right now. In FOD, he was telling a guy that the goal is to get the wars to feel unique, and they don't expect players to play in every war. And basically, I'm not going to read the entire thing. You guys can read it if you want. He's just explaining how, you know, they designed the game in such a way that you shouldn't be playing Foxhole constantly. You should come in and out, check what's new on the update and such. And it's like, you know, everybody was instantly like, oh my God, he's telling us to like not play every war. Like, so what, this game doesn't want population or active people? And then Mark comes in and says, well, no, you know, you guys are interpreting wrong. He just meant this and that. And he was trying to say that you know, this is the design of the game. We are happy that people play it, you know, constantly and whatnot. But it's like, it's stuff like this, like, I don't know, for me, it feels silly, like, because like, why say it like that if you don't mean it like that? This is constantly what I'm hearing. Oh, we didn't mean it like that. Oh, we didn't mean it like that. Then stop saying it like that. Am I crazy, Kaz?
Yeah, you are a little crazy.
Oh, thank you.
It's got nothing to do with this.
Anyway, I'll go ahead and play the clip because this is interesting. This is on Clanman, as I know a lot of people want to hear about Clanman, right?
I mean, Foxhole is like has so much of the success of the game and so much of what we have to be thankful for is because of the clans, right? And I think that we're at the point where I would love to start giving more things for the clans to be able to use in the game, right? I think
like an actual clan system.
I think that'd be cool. I mean,
right. So if I may start real quick on this, what I loved about that little clip, and it's very subtle, and most of you might not catch it, but the way Joffrey says, like an actual clan system.
Yeah.
But like
Brutal.
the craziness is the amount of seconds it took him to reply just to be like, oh yeah, that would be nice. As if like, oh shit, I didn't think about that.
But you know what's absent there, though? It's not a, yeah, that'd be cool, and here are our plans to do
Exactly.
this.
Or
You know
this
what I'm saying? Like,
timeline, or...
Because any other respecting group would have already had a discussion about this and would have a plan or at least some concept to lay out and say, hey, listen, we have put some thought into this, and here's some things that we've explored. Here's the timeline that we're looking at, where we might be able to see some of this. You know, and this may not be finite, but, you know, we have really wrestled with this, and here are some things that we really want to bring to the community. Boom, something, not just, yeah, that'd be cool. You know, like, come on, man.
I won't be happy until I get my fucking officer's cap. Okay. I can die a happy man when my character on Foxhole can wear an officer's cap.
I can imagine like Avitus blowing like some absurd amount of money on just like one of the ex-devs bringing a shard up and just putting a cap for him to run around for half an hour in like his private shard, you know, after the game is long gone.
I'm still here. I'm still defending Callahan. The lone warden.
There's a modder out there. I think his name is Wolfgang. He's like actually putting fucking World War II like models in the game, and he replaced the light tank, and it has like fucking 2 frontal like coaxial machine guns, and it's just so fucking funny because someone said a comment. Imagine if someone downloaded this mod this guy had it, yelling at people to use their machine guns.
That would be fun as fuck. I want to go to because like the one with the clans, I just wanted to show it. There's not much to discuss there. Like, I think reaction
I think
says
it's
no.
going to be. I think you just need to manage your expectations in regards to the clan system, because we all know that when it comes around, it's going to be a window that you bring up, click invite, and that's going to be it. You know what I mean? There's your clan system, guys. Have fun.
It would be funny that you just have the old one. You know, they would re-add officers, and that's the feature.
Squad 2.0, which just
and they'll release that in the update where you have to tech rifles, you have to go around and punch people or use pistols for the first 3 hours of the war.
I'll go to the next one, the one with the silver hand, right, Kaz? Because you mentioned that one, and I wanted to show it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, the silver hand is kind of what I would imagine a medium tank would be like, but I don't like. I can see that the dev team doesn't really want the silver hand to be a medium tank, right? I think you guys just want it to be more like a strike tank that just like attacks and then moves back and stuff, right? Am I wrong with that?
I don't think that's exactly a direct goal. I think that's, I mean, if that's how it's kind of being used and that's its optimal use, then yeah, I mean, that's its role right now. But I guess.
Oh boy.
What?
I think it's just. I don't want to. I'm not trying to defend anyone. I'm just trying to be like, I could understand where he's coming from. The guy asked him like maybe 3 different questions in one. One asking, and then the other giving a like clarification, and then just like, so what do you think?
So what I'm going to do, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to invent this rifle, okay? And I'm going to put it in your hands, and then I'm going to take it to the front. Well, what should I do with it? What does it do? Well, just figure it out when you get there. Wherever it ends up doing is the role it's going to take. You know what I mean? So if it's good at digging holes, then you use it for digging holes. If you can point it in the enemy and pull the trigger, and it does something, then that's the role that it's going to be used for that. It's just like that question, that line of logic is just absolutely insane to me. You know what I mean? The guy's asking what it's designed for. You designed the tank. You should be able to tell him like what its optimal what it's clearly being able to be used for. He's not asking it as an actual question. He's just asking for clarification so he can then move on to a different point. You know what I mean? Like if he was to say, yes, it is a strike tank, then he would move on to a different point about, a problem that he has or something about that tank that needs to be altered about, that strike capability or something like that. It was a leading question. It wasn't like an actual question. And the guy, he's just like, it's absolutely insane.
Or, in my opinion, at least like answer the question and then say what he said. Like say, well, we designed it like a medium tank, but you guys decided to use it like this, and that's fine, right?
Yeah, that could
perfectly fine, right? Like I don't mind that. That's a perfect answer. But that like sort of if you guys like it like that, sure, yeah, you can. It's basically you guys can imagine, unicorns are real. It's fine by us. We don't like if it works for you guys. It's your imagination. You just use it. I don't know.
But when a certain thing is at the concept stage, they should be around the table discussing, right, so what's the role of this thing? What's it going to actually do? You know what I mean? But thinking back, I think Kaz brought up a point earlier on where, they were discussing something they didn't even know that it had a role or something. So, I don't know.
And that's my problem when it comes to balance, right? You can't balance something if you don't have a purpose for it or an intention for how it's supposed to fit or be used in the system. And so here's something I don't like very much, but they balanced small arms damage because they didn't feel it met the purpose of destroying structures. Now I disagree with this form of balance, but they at least had some kind of intention or purpose in their mind. And I don't know that they've got the whole picture pulled together, but that's an example of that principle in play. Didn't work to our advantage there, but that's the way that's supposed to look.
That was a prime example of people complaining about, like, oh, what do we do, devs? Like, we're firing rifles and everything at this relic base, but it's not going down. Okay, we'll stop you from doing that all entirely. Structures are no longer damaged by small arms.
Fixed it.
Use this. This is fixed now. Take all these wheelchairs and here's a bunch of HEs. Have fun.
Have fun, kids.
Some AGs in a wheelchair.
So he said, so I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Mark said, around about the time in one of the clips that you showed, about the possibility of an early game armored vehicle. And I just want to hear your quick thoughts on that. So I'm talking about day one, armored car of some description. What are your thoughts?
Well, we had that. Remember the
I'll
relics,
say like
Yeah. So yeah.
and it was a disaster.
I'm talking about something like really early war that you can't really push with. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? It's not something for.
Let me just remind everyone, at the start of War 69, we had the option of armored cars for both factions.
Yeah, but what Avitus is saying, like day 0, minute 0.
But no medkits, kids.
No, of course not. No gas mask either. Like what?
So he bracketed all of this in the same question. It was right after Cass's question, and it was sort of like along the lines of including bayonets, medical supplies at the start of the war, and then he went on to say something along the lines of, "Do you think that we should have an early game armored vehicle or armored car for day one war?"
To be honest with you, something like the armored car, because of how weak they are, I don't think that would make any difference as long as you have stickies.
I think he was even referring to something even lighter than the armored car.
That would be even way non-consequential.
Call it that. Just call it the light armored car.
And it dies to sneezing, I guess. Somebody sneezes, it's gone.
Yeah, but I mean, day one war, you got nothing to do with them apart from, unless it gets too close to sticky grenades. So
yeah, not really, because I can tell you, free SMGs just murder those things instantly. You know what I mean? Like, not a problem.
Well, it's interesting, but I'd rather have that focus be tossed on first day medical equipment. It's like why is it Texas?
And it's a point where there's a lot of people that really like the infantry well, at least were liking the infantry combat day one before all of the changes that sort of made it tedious.
I had fun before like defenses came online, before bunkers, like back when it was just foxholes and rifles and people running around. That's when I love Foxhole the most. They just keep taking away from it.
30 hours of force.
They had bunkers, double 2 bunkers day one. They removed our ability to deal with foxholes. Like, come on.
Yeah, I have a sneaky feeling that they're just focusing on bullshit like trains and flamethrowers and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's things that are going to take up a lot of time, but they can throw in for the wow factor when they come out, rather than all of
you in a spider tank for a specific.
Oh my god! Please no.
I actually kept this little clip for the end here because I find it extremely interesting and it's on topic with today's discussion. So here it goes.
0.5. We knew we just had to bring that many upgrade parts, but with this system we have a bar and we measure pixels, and we have no idea how far it's going up.
It's a timer without being a timer.
How long do we wait? Just tell us something. Give us a number. Give us a timer. That way we can be like, okay, guys, we just have to take shifts and guard it for 8 hours, and we're good. Like, once we're done with that, then there we go. We're done. If we at least had some information, we would lose our mind less.
I think taking shifts is probably not good. So maybe.
I mean, it's not good, but it kind of has to happen, right? At some point, someone actually does have to do the job of physically protecting something for some amount of time. I don't think that's completely off limits. Now, doing it for multiple.
I don't think it's off limit, and I feel like it is part of the game for sure. But I think any sort of strange, extended, like you got to sit here overnight type of stuff is kind of what I'm talking about.
Sure.
So, I have some points to make to this. First of all, Zach was referring to how taking up bunkers and stuff works, that you have no indication of how long it takes and so on and so forth. Second of all, and the most important part of it is, especially where he ends it on it, so Mark says he feels abusive, basically. That's what he says. Like, guarding something overnight, that for him felt like madness, right? But God. Here's the thing, right? The rockets in the game are basically guard the object for 24 hours. And it's not only that, after you guard it for 24 hours, you need to put together a huge amount of people to try and spot for it while also having 10 people next to it so you can fire it. The storm cannon is a huge grind for protecting a location for a long time with people guarding it along the clock 24 hours, right? So how I am like this one confuses me the most, because again it feels like he has no clue what's happening in the game.
I know what's going on. I know exactly what's going on. Now, this might come across as a bit of conspiracy theory, okay? But how do we know that these people are actually the same people that are making the game? You know what I mean? So what I'm thinking is the actual developers of the game don't want, the interaction with the community, okay? So what they do is they pay these actors every week to just talk about bullshit, okay? They don't really know anything about the game, but they just put them on camera, to have a face for the game, and that's about it. Because that's exactly what I got from that clip. Like, I'm sorry, dude, but that's on another level to me. I could not believe what I was hearing. That, more than anything else on the show tonight, has blown my fucking mind. Like, what the hell is that? Like, has he no concept of like the game that he's been working on for the past 3 years? I mean, that's not a new thing. You know what I mean? Like, literally guarding shit for hours at a time. What does he think that we've been doing for the past 2 years, 3 years? You know
Exactly.
what I mean? It's like this is a second job to a lot of people. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck.
Which like consequently work more here than their actual jobs.
Oh my god! Please no.
Like,
I don't even know how to like legitimately respond to that, dude. I don't know how to.
Kaz.
I mean, it's the same problem though. Like, it's the same problem. There's no design. You know what I mean? Like, here it is. Go have fun. And somebody else will look at that and say, okay, we are incentivizing the wrong kind of behavior. We need to change how we incentivize this behavior. And they just kind of their hands off on it and say, well, that's not too great. But since there's no design behind it, there's no purpose. There's no path to fix it.
Dark. I think are you okay, Dark? You feel down there.
I like to believe in Avdis's theory. These are paid actors, and we need to free them. We started with the incident with the lemon.
I think
I know the full-on conspiracy, and it connects to other goblins, and goblins is another acronym for colonial. And
I've got it. So they're actually under the control of aliens that are weak to lemons. That's why they don't like lemons getting into the office. Citrus like weakness. That's how we defeat the invasion, guys.
So
arm yourselves with citrus.
So Citronians are real, because
tomorrow's armor. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to weaponize the youth and to see what their combat strategy is when fighting against a bridge. You see, this is all connecting to one big algorithm.
Oh my god! I know this is getting out of hand, but at the same time, to a clip like that, I think this is the only sane reaction. Because like I said, I was on a serious note. I was like, I froze. Like I couldn't believe what I was hearing, because the arc on all of these things in the game, right? The rocket, the storm cannon. That's the arc of them. Guarding them for a long time. Like, you can't say you're against guarding something overnight when you put in a game an objective for which, one, you need to grind a shit ton of materials, because they're pretty expensive. Two, you need to build up the rocket site, right? That's a huge undertaking. You need 65 perimeter for mortar, 150 meters perimeter for FA shots. Think about it. How much effort goes into building that thing, right? And I know, the answer you're going to get is, well, this is a faction thing, right? You do it with the faction, so it's less stress on the individual. Yes, but, and this is the but, it can only be one squad that locks it, right? It's going to be one group that controls the rocket, right? So that group needs to be there and is going to be the main actor behind that rocket, right? And
that's the other thing, mate. The in-game collaboration tools are broken for the vision they have. right? Can you imagine pulling together a rocket site construction, defense, and launch with the in-game tools available to do it?
No Discord. Jesus Christ!
Does that exist?
No, I don't think it can exist. Like, literally, unless the enemy lets you do it, I don't see it.
How do you, as a Joe Blow that wants to participate in that process, figure
Never.
out how to do that? There's no way. You can't participate at all unless you integrate with the community in a way that no other game demands of you.
You know, it wouldn't be so bad for these things, and I think people would look on it with a lot less scorn if when they came out, like rockets came out, and all these storm cannons and all that type of shit. If they legitimately came out and said, "Look, these are weapons for really for clans with a lot of people," you know what I mean? These weapons are intended for clans with a lot of people, to use, or for a large group of organized people to use. I think it would be looked on with a lot less scorn. But the fact that they've just kept up this thing of anybody can do it. It's a thing that everybody has. This not everybody's capable of doing it. You know what I mean? And they just simply can't. It's not a matter of they can spend all of their lives on Foxhole and they still can't do it. You know what I mean? You need a large group of people. So I think if they came out at the start and said that, it wouldn't have been taken as badly as it has been over the years.
And think of how other games have embraced that better. So and I did not play World of Warcraft at all, but they have a lot of stuff that's designed for organized gameplay, and they have a guild system that's integrated into the game to help players facilitate those interactions. You know what I mean? They support. There's support for the community. The players are the content in that extent, right? The communities and guilds are the content, and the platform enables that. And Foxhole is actively antagonistic against that. Yeah. It has a system that would benefit from it and that encourages it in one sense, but then there's not any structure to actually leverage it.
And it's such a shame because Foxhole has such a unique and ridiculously passionate community that they could have that, and they could have it really fucking easily if they'd have just made some better decisions along the way. And I don't see much hope for that now, to tell you the truth. The community's faith in the development team has waned, to say the least, over the years. But I think at one time, Foxhole had the potential to have a real loyal following for a lot of years, because a lot of people and still, people still sink a lot of hours in, but nowhere near where it was. You know what I mean? So, and
I wouldn't throw out what Dutch is saying, which is a very important point. So, I propose this scenario. We propose it a lot here on this stream, right? Your private Joe just bought the game, jump in it. You see this battle tank or whatever. Let's assume they're back in the game because they're gonna come back anyway, right? And you're like, whoa, that thing is cool, right? I wanna have that for myself. I wanna play with it, right? Because that's why I'm playing the video game. I want the big gun. So, let's just assume that with the help of people in game that are willing to help him out, because that's how it happens, he finds out he needs to go get arm mats, whatever, basically like Dutch is saying. He works for 8 hours, 6 hours in the game to get the battle tank, right? Then he gets in the battle tank, let's say he drives it, because generally that's what people want to do when they build it, right? And then gets 4 random people that he finds around to crew it with him, right?
Oh my god.
And they go out, and he has no clue about the game mostly, because he doesn't understand how a lot of things work, and sees this massive ass tank. He's like, okay, I can just run over those trenches or whatever, right? Because it's a huge battle tank, right? Loses it in 3 minutes, 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Not only does he lose it, he gets it tracked, and then he gets surrounded by 10 colonials
and they steal it, yeah,
and talking shit, and they steal it from him.
Yeah, even that's a way better scenario. I'll give you that.
But let's take it let's take the faction thing out of it. You know what I mean? That happening to either faction is a bad thing for the game.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like Private Joe there, he's gonna get right. Well, maybe I will get a refund because I only bought the game 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, but that's the beauty about the logi system, though. There's no refunds. There's nothing to do in the logi system of the game that is under 2 hours. That's
That's how they get you. you still BT in, you're like, I want it, and then like for some reason you've already spent more than 2 hours and you can't get that refund back. It's too late. The game.
Ah, we gotcha.
Dark Razor, you remember that guy, that streamer that we caught in the Silver Hand? Eons ago. We talked. I think we have talked about it on here. But how doomed was that guy before we found him?
Oh my God, the poor guy.
They were about to unknowingly charge into a full-on mind and defensive layout from the Colonials
by themselves,
and like just by themselves on a Silver Hand. It was just one, right? And we managed to convince them to.
Yeah.
And I think it's important. It's really important to say that this wasn't like, your average guy that has no clue, right? These were a group of friends that actively play video games and they stream as well. So they were by definition above average. Your casual player that joins the game, right?
Yeah.
They were like communicative. They were socializing with people, so they were getting information way easier than normal people do when they join a game. And they were still in a hell of a trouble and confusion, and they couldn't find shit to fight. They were just like, where should we go?
I couldn't imagine. See, I've been playing this game a lot of years now, and like, I can't imagine coming into the game with no knowledge now as a new player. It must be absolutely mind-blowing, because when I came into it, there was just about enough information for me to be like, yeah, maybe I can handle this after a couple of weeks. You know what I mean? And after a couple of weeks went by, I was chugging along quite nicely. And then over the years, as things come out, you learn them as they come out. You know what I mean? So you can, I'm not an expert at Logi, but I could probably find my way around it if I try for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? But for new people coming into the game with absolutely no knowledge of what's going on and the very rudimentary tutorial system that they've got on the home, it's like, what the hell are those guys? Like how are those guys meant to stick around for more than one war? You know what I mean? That's the problem. I think that if these people just want to play the game casually, you're probably going to lose them after a war. But if they want to take it a little bit more seriously and devote a bit more time to it, then they join a clan, and the clan's what ends up keeping them around, because that's the only way that you can have that organized gameplay that you were looking for when you bought the game. Really, you know what I mean? You do get like snippets of it here and there with random gameplay when I'm playing on my own. You get little bits here and there, but nothing on the level of what clans do. You know what I mean? And I think that's the crux of the issue.
Right. So shall we go on and end it on a positive note? Because I kept something positive. Yeah, I kept something positive. So
let's talk about COVID.
That can be extremely positive by its nature. But instead, let's talk about Klaus and Hans, our favorite Germans, and it's important to say that what you're going to see here is just a sneak preview. It's like Klaus is really busy in his workshop. Santa's like working hard on a lot of projects, so he's going to need more time before he shows us all his tricks. But he gave us a sneak preview exclusive of what they're working on right now. And it looks incredible, to say the least.
I love the light machine gun on the top.
Yeah, I was just about to say that as well. It's like, why doesn't the battle tank have that? You know what I mean?
Well, it could just be.
Oh, man, that's so good. That's so good.
Well, you got the sledge and the hammers, like just nice on the sides. Like that.
They should get. I wonder if we could get like a transfer or something like that. Made for the symbol, our logo symbol. If you could get like a transfer to go onto that would be sick. Make it all scratched and shit. It needs a commissar at the top with a sword. That's the only thing it needs.
I like the backpacks. They're appropriate.
Or a colonial next to it trying to wrench it or something.
Well,
green hand underneath the tracks.
Klaus might just hear. You never know. He likes requests, from what I'm hearing. So yeah, I think at least this is on the positive thing. I know I've discussed this with Dark in detail in much depth in the past. I think Klaus's like work on these is just getting nuts. Like the rust around the turrets and stuff is like just like, you know, incredible. Not to mention
definitely starting to take shape. Like I know it was great before, but like adding these little details, like
oh yeah,
the packs on the side and stuff like that. Like I would say more dirt needs more. It needs like I mean, it's factory fresh at the moment, but throw some dirt on there. Throw some fucking, you know, battle damage in there. Have a shell that hasn't quite penetrated, and you know, it's like still sticking out of the turret or something like that. You know what I mean? Sick as fuck.
If I was to give any criticism, although that everything is beautiful, I love the fucking look of the paints and everything. I just recommend looking for some stencils for doing the letters and numbers. Just like you can just carve them out of. You can even use like a plastic box, you know, just to like a real thin piece of cardboard, and just like use an X-Acto knife to cut off the letters you want. It makes a good like for like lettering and whatnot.
oh yeah, looks like it's like factory lettering and stuff.
And what you can do if you don't want it like looking fresh is you can scratch it a bit with a coin or something like that, and it looks like it's, you know, seen some wear and tear, and you can like paint rusting after that and stuff. It's good.
Oh yeah, that's one thing too about that, like getting battle damage, like using just the knife and just like carving scratches into that shit. Just really fucking. Like I've seen some good tank models. Like I don't know how, for the love of God, they like get tank like shells just like fucking not penetrating, but leaving a dent inside them. It looks so fucking cool.
Like if you could get minis working on the tank like it's in a fucking vehicle bit as well. Oh my god, can you imagine that? That would be fucking awesome. Building a whole vehicle factory with a fucking tank inside it with like fucking miniature wardens like working on it and shit, like a diorama. Fucking hell. Take all of my money.
Well, you know where Klaus is. He will be there to take your money any day you want.
Yeah.
Don't
be careful, because if the country finds out he's manufacturing tanks, they're gonna have a problem.
This is not game workshop.
I just got that. Like, designing tanks again, are we? We know how that went.
Oh god, that's funny.
Especially with the two names as Hans and Klaus. Yeah, it's not helping anyone.
Yeah.
Okay, wrap it up. Right. So I don't. I think that was at least a more optimistic way of.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Of
it brought my mood back up. I'll tell you what.
It's just like I and I know, you know, the devs have their little community highlights and whatever when before the streams and whatever, and I don't know, well, not my taste, most of it, but I feel like for stuff like this, and I know it's probably more on the artist side, you know, probably Julian and other people that working on these models that actually appreciate them more, but like, I don't know, I just feel like what I'm trying to say is I think I would have felt a lot more pressure if I was in their shoes when I would see stuff like this, because like realistically we all know, you know, you're looking at something that somebody put a shit ton of hours into, right? So I would just hope that when they see these, they would understand the passion that people put into these projects and just feel a sense of duty towards them, right? To try and fix some aspects here and there. Is what I'm trying to say.
I wouldn't get your hopes up on that.
Oh no, I'm just saying.
There's been a few times where, you know, they've sort of brushed by absolutely amazing work to focus on some fucking Japanese cartoon pictures or whatever they are.
No hating on the weebs, Grandpa.
I fucking love that shit. Like fucking elf colonials, like like, what's going on over there? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't like colonials, but I wish they were a bit more like hench heretical rather than Slaneshi heretical. You know what I mean? Because the Slaneshi heretical stuff is pretty dark.
Oh boy. Right, let's go around the table here. Kaz, anything to close off with?
I've said my piece. I am at peace. Thank you.
That's funny.
Peace. I'm a peace.
Avitus?
Just keep cooking those grenades, guys. You know, keep manning those foxholes, and until it's time to once again attach bayonets and charge out and take the enemy chances. We can just hold in for the long haul and, you know, hope for a miracle. And, you know, I'll keep praying until the very end.
Mr. Dark?
That storm cannon shell must have hit you pretty hard, huh? It's time to get back up to the scrap field, boy. The colonials are starting to put their tanks up towards the passage. Let's go.
Onward.
Right, and for me, just I'm gonna say the nasty thing that I have to say for all of you. Remember, we have a dev stream next week. Start praying early. Pray to whatever. Well, maybe. Well, just to like, I'll add it in my wrap up. I would rather have it cancelled another 3 times than having one of those streams where Mark shows us a roadmap and then sends us to bed.
Every time it delays, it's just becoming more and more of a roadmap stream. It's gonna be a stream about another stream, about a future stream.
I know. I just love this instead of those streams that didn't show anything and they were just about anime and Legos. So
all hail the great vision.
They've done that for every single delayed one, though. Every single delayed stream they've had was just a fucking, hey guys, so this is what we're planning on doing. Here's the roadmap. It's like, what? I mean, it better be good because it's delayed like 5 times already. Over exaggerating, but you know, I feel like I haven't gotten my dose of dev stream. But nonetheless, I'll stop talking.
yes, it is time to go. Thank you guys for joining us for one more rant stream. Well, rant stream, not rant stream. I know you guys are here for the for the commentary, so I'm not gonna apologize.
It's to get all this shit off our chest. You know what I mean? That's what it's here for. So I'm glad that we have the opportunity to do it. Otherwise, it boils up.
Anyway, guys, till next time, which is probably gonna be after the dev stream, because we're gonna surely react to that. Don't worry about that. You can put it down on your calendar.
Your name dropping dates, dude. I don't even know what I'm gonna be doing in the week, bro.
Are we raiding someone? Is there someone to raid?
Not really. I'm not. I know I'm being asked, but not really. Nobody we know, and I'm like, if we don't know anybody, you know,
Fair enough.
it's like it's
some random Minecraft channel. Just toss these.
Oh god, if we show Minecraft, they might change to that.
No. We can't risk. We have like a fair 10% of the community here. We can't do this.
We can't risk. Oh, that's funny.
No, guys, come on, let's be sensible here. Like,
over to my channel, aspiring Twitch streamer, also coincidentally going to be playing Minecraft.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll settle to our great outro music, which everybody listens every time, especially me. So I'd rather throw them to that. Anyway, guys, till next time, thanks for showing up. Remember to rush their storm cannons now, because like that's the only thing to do.
Goodbye.